Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. Mesolithic rock-cut architecture of India not only reflects the cultural life of the times, but also a time aesthetic sense comparable to modern painting. Critically evaluate this comment. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. The period between the Paleolithic age and the Neolithic age is known as Mesolithic age, I roughly between 10,000–2000 BC. The art and architecture conceived during this period is referred to as the Mesolithic art. People of the Mesolithic age used microliths or tools made of small stones like obliquely truncated blades, crescents, triangles, and trapezes. Also, the art and architecture was limited to the rock and cave shelters. The main body of the answer should be number 1. The rock-cut architecture of Mesolithic period mainly depicted man's immediate surroundings, that are the things which he subsisted upon. Number 2. While the classical art essentially depicted what man saw and experienced, and the modern art illustrated what man thought and visualized. Some of the best-known Mesolithic sites in India are Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh, Sarai Nahar Rai in Uttar Pradesh, Bangor in Rajasthan, and Valsna in Gujarat. Number 3. The Mesolithic rock-cut architecture is in the form of petrographs, rock paintings, and petroglyphs, rock engravings, of which Bhimbetka is a classic example. The art in these natural cave shelters depict the social life. Number 4. In those times, especially related to hunting, sexual activities, childbirth, burial, etc. The main feature of Mesolithic rock-cut architecture is rock cave paintings which reflected the daily life of that period in a sense. For example, most of the paintings showed animals, hunting scenes, etc. Number 5. Therefore, people in this age had developed a clear aesthetic sense, as most of the paintings portrayed the nature around them. On the other hand, the modern paintings before the 19th century focused more on ornate presentations than capturing the aesthetic value as evident by the bazaar paintings during the company rule. Conclusion of the answer is: however, in late 19th century many modern painters like Raja Ravi Verma, Amrita Shegil, Nandlal Bose, Abnindranath Tagore also reflected cultural times of the age and had fine aesthetic sense like Mesolithic paintings. For example, the Bharat Mata painting of Abnindranath Tagore. However, the abstract modern art certainly lacked the nature's proportions and the aesthetics of classical and Stone Age art and appealed to a selected class of people. Question number 2. The powers, privileges and immunities of Parliament and its members as envisaged in Article 105 of the Constitution leave room for a large number of uncodified and unenumerated privileges to continue. Assess the reasons for the absence of legal codification of the parliamentary privileges. How can this problem be addressed? Let's start with the introduction of the answer. The powers, privileges and immunities of Parliament and its members as envisaged in Article 105 of the Constitution has many ambiguous provisions. The lack of proper codification of power and privileges leaves for a lot of scope in favor of parliamentarians. The main body of the answer should be: there are many reasons for absence of legal codification of the parliamentary privileges. Number 1. While there are liberal provisions for the independence of judiciary, like contempt of court, etc., there are no such strict provisions for Parliament. Number 2. Some flexibility has been provided to ensure the independence of Parliament and provide for unforeseen events which cannot be covered by codification. Number 3. The power-centric nature of Indian politics and the corruption prevalent in the social institutions has also prevented any constructive reforms. Number 4. There is a lack of political will due to which parliamentarians have not favored any change in the existing mechanisms which curb their privileges. Number 5. However, in a liberal democracy, there should not be enough gulfs of protocols between the political representatives and ordinary citizens. Number 6. Following steps can be taken to ensure transparent working of Parliament and to put the legislators on equal footing as that of rest of citizens. Number 7. Parliamentary proceedings need to be more transparent and make parliamentarians more accountable for their conduct. Number 8. Unmodified and unremunerated rights of the parliamentarians give the Parliament an unrestricted freedom to frame the rights and privileges of the parliamentarians, thus creating the grounds for political inequality in the society. Number 9. The chairperson of the House should be obliged to submit a report to the President or the Supreme Court about the sanctions that should be put against unruly members. Number 10. Governing the conduct of parliamentarians. Number 11. Parliament should be made more diverse with participation of more women and young lawmakers. Conclusion of the answer is: the Constitution could also be amended to form an independent committee to scrutinize the proceedings of the House on regular basis and submit a report before the President. Question number 3. Drought has been recognized as a disaster in view of its party expense, temporal duration, slow onset and lasting effect on various vulnerable sections. With a focus on the September 2010 guidelines from the National Disaster Management Authority, discuss the mechanism for preparedness to deal with the El Niño and La Niña fallouts in India. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Drought is not merely a physical phenomenon characterized by conditions of soil, water, and vegetation. It has a very deep implication on the social life and behavior pattern of rural people. Droughts are different from other natural disasters in terms of the complexity of the phenomenon, its characteristic creeping onset, silent spread and gradual withdrawal, and its varied temporal and vast spatial spread. The main body of the answer should be: Number 1. Droughts, more than other natural disasters, are very intricately knit with agriculture and larger socio-economic development of regions, as well as non-structural issues such as ecological landscape, socio-economic fabric of communities, malnutrition, and health. Number 2. This long-term and intense linkage that droughts have with agriculture development, livelihoods, resource access, poverty and backwardness makes the role of policy more significant and potent for its amelioration than it is for any other disaster. Number 3. Variability of rainfall leading to rainfall deficiency and water shortage causes drought. The southwest monsoon accounts for 70 to 80% of the annual rainfall over major parts of India. Number 4. Its timely occurrence in normal quantity and uniform distribution over all regions determine the prospects of agricultural production and allied activities every year. However, failure of rains from southwest monsoon results in occurrence of drought in the Indian region. Number 5. Also, there seems to be a clear association between El Niño and La Niña events and weak monsoons. Each El Niño or La Niña episode usually lasts for several seasons and has substantial role to play in disaster occurrences. Number 6. NDMA issued National Disaster Management Guidelines for Management of Drought in September 2010. Number 7. The guidelines for the management of drought have been formulated after a 9-step process fully taking on board various central ministries and departments and the states. The process also included wide consultations with scientific and technical institutions, academics, technocrats, and humanitarian organizations. Number 8. The guidelines on management of drought describe in brief the phenomenon of drought, the efforts made so far to control them by diverse organizations and institutions, and make several important and far-reaching recommendations on the measures to be taken by the central and the state governments and other selected agencies. Number 9. Based on the guidelines, the state UT governments will prepare their drought management plans, implementation of which are expected to minimize drought hazards. Measures of preparedness to deal with the drought situation. A proper implementation of IMD data in advance will help in reassessment of the conditions. B. Use of information and communication technology (ICT) tools by various agencies in management of drought. C. Implementation of proper water augmentation and conservation techniques with the involvement of citizens in advance. D. Maintenance of dams in the rained areas for checking the leakage of water. Conclusion of the answer is involving community, SHGs, NGOs in drought management activities at the village tehsil level, awareness among farmers towards using better irrigation techniques like drip methods, etc.